Hello everyone, this is Dr. Anjali Srivastava, retired zoology professor, and this is my channel Adarsh, as we have met so many times. Today's topic is the continuation or extended part of the last video in which we have discussed the male reproductive system and testis, the general organization and anatomy. And the next topic in this next part of this topic is male reproductive system, its physiological role of male hormones, male infertility, and cryptorchidism. That is the special phenomenon that when the testis fails to be shifted into the scrotal sac, that is outside the abdominal cavity. That these two parts we will see in the last two slides. So to start with, the physiological role of male hormones produced by the male endocrine glands. Hormones are the secretions produced by the endocrine glands, which travel through the blood in small amount, do the most effective physiological actions, and then they themselves are inhibited by the process of the feedback mechanism. That are the very basic information. So to start with the male reproductive system, just to recall in one line, ये last class में हमने देखा था, this is the male reproductive system comprising of one pair of testes held in position by this spermatic cord in the abdominal cavity. With this spermatic cord, it is held. This is the diagrammatic sagittal section of the testis comprising of these. Uh, this is the tunica vaginalis comprising of two layers, the parietal layer and the visceral layer, and inside this visceral layer, this is the tunica albiginalis that enters into the compartment of the testis, dividing into the different compartments called the testicular lobules. Each lobule contains 200 to 250 lobules, such each lobule having 2 to 3 seminiferous tubules. So these are the seminiferous tubules. Just to recall, क्योंकि जब हम देखेंगे कि कौन सा हार्मोन सिक्रीट होता है और वो कहाँ कहाँ काम करता है, तो ये आपको एक बार रिकॉल करना जरूरी था, क्योंकि अब ये जो मेन एक्शंस होते हैं ये हमने देखा था कि सेमिनिफेरस ट्यूब्यूल्स और उनके आसपास जो लीडिंग सेल्स हैं इंटरस्टिशियम में, these are the two regions जहाँ पर हार्मोन्स आते हैं from the brain through the anterior pituitary और सारे functions शो करते हैं. The main regulatory functions of the physiological role of male hormones are shown by or controlled by the actions of these hormones are shown by the histological part of the testis seminiferous tubule. Seminiferous tubule में ये जो दो parts हैं, the leading cells or the interstitial cells, or this is the leading cell, this is the Sertoli cell of seminiferous tubule. These are the spermatogonial layer of the seminiferous tubule. These are the different spermatogonial layer of the seminiferous tubule. These are the spermatozoa. This is the single spermatozoa. The head remains produced into the Sertoli cells. So this is just at a glance, we have just revised, recalled the histology of the male reproductive organs and one seminiferous tubule of testis, so that we can well understand कहाँ कहाँ पर ये hormones आते हैं और कैसे कैसे पूरे sexual reproductive actions male में उनको control करते हैं या regulate करते हैं. So this is in very short. आगे की slides में हम देखेंगे और ज़्यादातर as I have told you अपने in diagrammatic slides में I'll just explain you, and the written literature I have given in a number of slides of this PowerPoint presentation that you can use for your notes preparation. So let us come to the hormonal part, that is यहाँ इस diagram में, इस introductory slide में, और the title of the chapter, यहाँ पे एक बहुत ही typical informative representation I have taken here, that this control begins with this hypothalamus part of the brain. ये brain का hypothalamic part है, that is cortex, and then hypothalamus. This is the hypothalamus region from where a very particular hormone is secreted, that is called a GnRH, that is gonadotropin releasing hormone. that reaches the pituitary situated here. Again, this is the reason of the pituitary at the floor of the dancephalon. This pituitary has two parts, anterior pituitary, and this is the posterior pituitary. We are mainly concerned with this anterior part that secretes the FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and LH, the luteinizing hormone. In males, it is also called as ICSH, interstitial cell stimulating hormone. Now, these two hormones, through the blood portal system or the hypophyseal blood portal system, it reaches the testis. यहाँ we have seen the vast difference के पास बहुत सारे सप्लाई होते हैं, blood supply, nerve supply, highly it is vascularized. Or in blood supply के through blood, these two hormones, they enter into the testis, reach the seminiferous tubules. वहां पे जाकर के ये काम करते हैं, ये FSH and LH, they act either independently and also jointly to regulate two important parts. First है spermatozoa production. दो बहुत important काम included हैं male reproductive functions में. First है the production of spermatozoa, जो फीमेल के ट्रैक्ट में एंटर करके ओवम के साथ फर्टिलाइज करता है, और दूसरा है डेवलपमेंट एंड कंट्रोल ऑफ सेकेंडरी सेक्सुअल कैरेक्टर्स. So these are two important actions or the functions controlled by the male hormones. These male hormones are secreted by the different parts of the seminiferous tubules, as we have just seen. Now, to start, before we enter into the physiological part, let us just have a glance on the some interesting factor, that is the reproductive in human embryo. जब fetus develop करता है, the default sexual differentiation is female. That is very interesting to know. जब fetus का development हो रहा है, हमने ये पढ़ा है कि X and Y chromosome के fusion से या during the time of fertilization zygote बनता है, और अगर Y है वहाँ पे तो वो male में develop करेगा. But that is also true during the developmental stages of the human embryo fetus, the default sexual differentiation is female. But the Y chromosome contains a very specific gene that is called as SRY gene. Y chromosome पर एक specific gene होता है. This is the, let us insert a new slide. So this Y chromosome contains a SRY gene. This is actually a gene part which is sex determining gene. It is called as sex determining gene. And this gene is responsible for development of testes and other male reproductive organs. Which include the testes, then epididymis, then vas deferens, then ejaculatory duct, vas deferens, then prostate gland, prostate and Cowper's. ये सब हम लोग last class में देख चुके हैं. Cowper's gland, prostate gland, and seminal vesicles. First the seminal vesicles will develop, and then ejaculatory duct will come, and seminal vesicles. These all together, here the semen is produced, and then it passes through the ejaculatory duct to the urethra and then open to the outside through the external part, genitalia and scrotum. So this is the how the development male reproductive organs develop. Now these are the important parts of the male reproductive system. Now when we see their hormonal function or the endocrinal function, the endocrinal part includes the physiological regulation that is controlled by the male sex hormones, and that is under regulation of the brain. Let us see here, this is in very short we can see, as हमने यहाँ पर भी देखा था brain से regulate होता है. This let us see in a bit detail. This is the gonadotropin hormone secreted or released from the hypothalamus region. This is the hypothalamus region, this is the cortex, this is the brain region, this is cortex, this is hypothalamus, and from this hypothalamus region, this gonadotropin releasing hormone, that is GnRH. This GnRH hormone is released that reaches through the blood supply. Here is a rich in the from the brain. Here we can see, and in the earlier diagrams also we have seen, यहाँ पर भी आप देख सकते हैं कि ये blood supply है, इस blood supply यहाँ आता है ऊपर brain से, along with the hypophyseal system or the blood circulatory system. This GnRH or gonadotropin releasing hormone reaches the anterior part of the pituitary gland. This pituitary gland is stimulated to produce the LH and the FSH, the luteinizing hormone and the follicular stimulating hormone. These luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone, they enter through again the blood supply to the testicular part, and that we will see here. This is the histological part of the testis. This testis that includes two important constituents of the testis are, first is the interstitial cells. If you remember, we have seen interstitial cells. There is some problem यहाँ पे लिखा ही नहीं है. This is the interstitial cell or the Leydig cell, rather you can say. This is the interstitium of the seminiferous tubule. This region, this area is the interstitium that contains the Leydig cells, and here acts the luteinizing hormone, whereas this FSH enters through the peripheral blood system into the seminiferous tubule that contains the seminiferous tubule. The interior of seminiferous tubule consists of these Sertoli cells and these different layers of developing spermatozoa, spermatogonia, primary spermatocyte, secondary spermatocytes, primary spermatocyte, secondary spermatocyte, then spermatids. These are the spermatids that transform into or modify into the spermatozoa, and these are the spermatozoa. So this is in very general explanations of the hormones. Now here the male secondary sexual, as I have told you, दो important behaviors regulate होता है. पहला होता है development of spermatozoa, दूसरा होता है development of secondary sexual characters, and the development of secondary or accessory sexual characters brings about at the age of puberty. At very specific age, the external appearances start to appear into the male. That begins between 11 to 13 years के age में puberty appear होती है, and at the age of puberty जो secondary sexual characters develop होते हैं, these include the thickening of voice, larynx broad हो जाता है. Thickening, the secondary sexual characters include thickening of voice, then development of hairs on skin and uh, on skin at various birds, mustaches that you know, birds and mustaches at the underarms, then at the region of the penis, then on the chest, etc. बहुत जगह पे मेल में hairs develop होते हैं. Then the stoutening of bones and muscles. Then are the erythropoiesis, बहुत blood का erythropoiesis. This is another important feature in the male secondary sexual character, that is the erythropoiesis. बहुत ज़्यादा blood RBCs count बहुत बढ़ जाता है, and occasionally ये बढ़ता घटता रहता है with the sex urge. The very important another feature is libido, that is the sex desire. And another very important feature is the seizure of the epiphyseal bone. Epiphyseal bone के का सीजर होता है, एक स्पॉट का डेवलपमेंट होता है, that is in the neck region. A spot like structure develops, and then with the development of the spurt, this epiphyseal bones or plates, these epiphyseal plates development is seized, bringing about the further development, जिसको हम कहते हैं ना कि एक particular age के बाद और ज़्यादा secondary sexual characters, that is height, then some other growths of stoutness of the bones and muscles, etc. वो seize कर हो जाता है, and that takes around 20 years. So it is you must have heard कि 20 साल 19-20 साल तक height बढ़ता है, उसके बाद रुक जाता है. That is after the appearance of a spurt-like structure at the region of the neck. Neck के region में एक spurt का growth होता है. So these are the secondary sexual characters. The development of these are controlled by the LH hormone secreted from this anterior pituitary, reaches the leading cells or the interstitial cells, and along with that, so let us see some more informations about the hormones. सबसे पहले हम एक जनरल आउटलाइन हमने देख लिया है कि हार्मोनल सिक्रीशंस क्या क्या होते हैं और क्या क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स वो कंट्रोल करते हैं. सो नाउ टू कन्फाइन देम और थोड़ा सा और स्पेसिफिक डेप्थ में नॉलेज के, लेट अस सी. ये हमने देखा कि हार्मोन्स करते क्या हैं. हार्मोन्स रेगुलेट करते हैं प्रोडक्शन ऑफ स्पर्मेटोजोआ एंड development of accessory or secondary sexual characters, जिनमें we have seen क्या क्या characters आते हैं. These are the secondary sexual characters. Now to confine our study, let us see some important hormones जो secrete होते हैं. फिर एक इनका हम देखेंगे कि एक के बाद ये कहाँ से secrete होते हैं, कहाँ तक जाते हैं. कुछ स्पेसिफिक टर्म्स एंड कुछ स्पेसिफिक एक्सिस लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स बनते हैं और वो कैसे कन्वर्ट करते हैं हार्मोनल नॉन फंक्शनल स्टेट से फंक्शनल स्टेट में, और फिर उनका एक्शंस क्या होता है. दीज वी विल सी इन दीज 4 स्लाइड्स इन शॉर्ट, and after that you can go through the literature, and in the last we will see the male infertility and cryptorchidism. So the main hormones of not only hormones, some hormones and some enzymatic material like the proteins secreted that show the physiological or the physiological control of male reproductive system include, first is the GnRH. This is the gonadotrophin. Here will be H. Gonadotrophin releasing hormone, that this is released from this hypothalamus. ये यहाँ से secrete हुआ है. Now it reached through the blood through the hypophyseal hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal system, the blood system जिससे ये पास होता है. These terms I have mentioned in one slide. यहाँ पे हम अभी mention कर देंगे. These are the specific terms that you have used into this physiological control. Hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal system. This is the blood circulatory pathway through which the GnRH, that is gonadotropin hormone, acts on the gonadotropes of anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary के particular सेल्स हैं जिनको हम गोनाडोट्रॉप्स कहते हैं, उन गोनाडोट्रॉप्स पर ये गोनाडोट्रोपिन रिलीजिंग हार्मोन काम करता है और वो एक्टिवेट करता है those gonadotrophs of anterior pituitary to stimulate, to activate the hormones, luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone. The luteinizing hormone is secreted. This is the luteinizing hormone, and this is the FSH, follicular stimulating hormone. Then the fourth hormone is testosterone. That is the hormone secreted by this. Testosterone is again secreted by the interstitial cells that we'll see. Leading is luteinizing hormone. It acts on the leading cells. यहाँ पे spelling नहीं लिख पा रहा, पेन स्लिप कर रहा है, LEYDIG. It will be leading cells पर act करता है, and this particular hormone is secreted, which is the fourth hormone, that is the testosterone. This testosterone is the most important male hormone. This is an androgen binding hormone, जिसका main content है, the most important type of androgen is found in this testosterone. This is a steroid that reaches the different parts of the seminiferous tubules. ये testosterone seminiferous tubules के different part पर काम करता है, leading cells पर काम करता है, seminiferous tubules के different regions में, Sertoli cells पर, spermatogonial cells पर, सब पर काम करता है. और सबसे important कहा जा सकता है testosterone को the most primary male hormone, which along with the FSH, it controls, it acts to regulate the physiological activities, reproductive activities. Now, another important secretion is here. This is the ABP, androgen binding protein. This is also secreted by the leading cells. This ABP is secreted by the Sertoli cell. Sertoli cell is another very important part of the seminiferous tubule that controls a number of physiological activities of the male reproductive system, the male. This is the androgen binding protein, and another important protein is the inhibin. This is also secreted by the Sertoli cells of the seminiferous tubule, and as the name says, it inhibits the negative actions. यहाँ पर ये minus दिख रहा है. All these negative actions are shown. यहाँ पे negative है, यहाँ पे negative है. So these negative actions are shown when enough amount of spermatozoa is produced, enough amount of testosterone is produced. This testosterone itself acts on the Sertoli cell. Sertoli cell produces the inhibin, and this inhibin stops the negative feedback mechanism. By the process of negative feedback mechanism, this inhibin reaches the brain and the anterior pituitary and gives the message to decrease the production of this LH. And again, in the same way, FSH के लिए भी वही mechanism होता है. FSH is given through the pituitary. This is the FSH. This reaches the spermatogonial cells, Sertoli cells. There, the spermatozoa production is controlled along with the association or testosterone लीडिक सेल से सिक्रीट होकर के आता है एंड्रोजन बाइंडिंग प्रोटीन के साथ, और दोनों एफएसएच एंड टेस्टोस्टेरोन दोनों मिलकर के यहाँ पे काम करते हैं. डिफरेंट स्टेजेज ऑफ द स्पर्मेटोगोनियल सेल्स के डिफरेंट स्पर्मेटोजेनेसिस के डिफरेंट स्टेजेस को प्रमोट करने में, स्टिमुलेट करने में, एक्टिवेट करने में हेल्प करते हैं दोनों हार्मोन, टेस्टोस्टेरोन एज वेल एज एफएसएच. एंड when the enough amount of spermatozoa are produced, then again this FSH also shows a negative feedback mechanism again here. It goes on, it acts on the testosterone and sends the negative feedback mechanism, negative masses to decrease the amount of FSH, sorry, to control the production of spermatozoa. So this is the inhibin. Then the seventh one, this is produced in very small amount and in very initial stage of the embryonic development of the fetus. That is the called as this is produced in the fetal development 4 to 5 months के समय ये 4 to 5 month का fetus जब होता है तभी ये secrete होता है, produce होता है by the Sertoli cells. ये भी Sertoli cells ही secrete करते हैं. This is the anti-Mullerian hormone or MIS, Mullerian inhibiting substance that stops the development of the Mullerian duct. ये Mullerian duct का मेल में कोई काम नहीं होता है. In female, it helps into the development of the reproductive tract and associated organ. So these are the 7 hormones and proteins and enzymes which are produced that show that control or regulate the physiological reproductive organ of the male. Now the testosterone, as I have told you, this is the Leydig cells, these are interstitial cells, यहाँ पर LH आता है, and now this is the DTH, dihydrotestosterone and estradiol. They together with testosterone, they activate these Leydig cells or interstitial cells to produce the testosterone, and this testosterone in turn shows the positive as well as negative effects. पॉजिटिव इफेक्ट्स में यहाँ पर ये जाता है सर्टोली सेल्स में. ये ब्लड पेरिफेरल सिस्टम या बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन है एक सेमिनिफेरस ट्यूब्यूल को अगर हम अंदर से क्रॉस सेक्शन में देखें तो these are the different stages of spermatogenesis and these are the here is occurring the spermiogenesis. Now ये टेस्टोस्टेरोन यहाँ पे spermiogenesis को कंट्रोल करता है through the Sertoli cells. These are the Sertoli cells. These Sertoli cells, they produce a number of, when they are stimulated, they do a lot of work. The Sertoli cells are very important cells. Sertoli cells, they, on one hand, they act as nurse cell, providing nutrition to the developing spermatozoa, as you have seen in one more diagram. Also, you can see here. In this diagram, you can see this is the Sertoli cell. This pink color structure is Sertoli cell, and these are the spermatozoa that remain, their head remain invaded in the Sertoli cell because they take the nutrition from the Sertoli cell. So the Sertoli cell, they are doing the mechanical work, nutrition, they provide nutrition, and they are also called as nurse cell. And they are also doing a number of endocrinological actions, that is the hormonal balance or hormonal regulations. So this is, in short, these are the hormones, and this is the how these different hormones, LH and FSH, they control, they regulate all the reproductive activities of the male, including the development of spermatozoa, then development of all the secondary sexual characters of the male. These are some of the target organs. This is the hair production. This is the penetral scrotal sac में pulsatile manner में testis के transformation transport होता है scrotum में, and this stimulates or enhances the related actions, the thickening of the bones and the muscles. This is the bone, these are the muscles. So overall, this is how the functions of how the hormones are secreted, and their positive and negative that controls are shown. This is again another chart showing this is the GnRH, that is the gonadotropin hormone. These green lines, they are showing the positive activities, and the red lines, they are showing the negative or the inhibitory activities. So in all these diagrams, almost the same pattern is here again same, that so now this is the overall mechanism. We can say this is the hypothalamus. From here the GnRH is secreted. This comes to the anterior pituitary. LH and FSH via blood system it is secreted. This LH is luteinizing hormone, or the ICSH or the interstitial, then this is the FSH. LH goes into the testis on the Leydig cells, then it promotes secretion of testosterone, and testosterone का development होता है from the cholesterol. Though in the next here I will show you what are the important products or the granules or the protein that helps into the conversion of cholesterol into the testosterone through certain other hormones called the DHT and DIA. This is the DHT, then estradiol, then DHEA, and then some other forms also that we will see. So let us see. अब हम एक बार फिर से इसको confine कर लें. The functions of this testosterone is acting on the Sertoli cells. The secondary sexual characters are, these are the secondary sexual characters which are controlled by the testosterone, and ये secondary sexual characters को affect करते हैं, peripheral effects को, और यहाँ Sertoli cells से bind करते हैं. Then they here it binds with ABP. This testosterone binds with ABP, and this ABP is secreted by the Sertoli cells. ABP is androgen binding protein. इस एंड्रोजन बाइंडिंग प्रोटीन के साथ टेस्टोस्टेरोन पहुंचता है सेमिनिफेरस ट्यूब्यूल्स में, जहां पर ऑलरेडी FSH आया हुआ है फ्रॉम द एंटीरियर पिट्यूटरी, एंड दीज टुगेदर दे डू a number of works, that is the ABP release, that is that controls the spermatogenesis and spermiogenesis. Then Sertoli cells, they also produce inhibin, AMH, anti-Müllerian hormone, or the MIS or Müllerian inhibiting substance. So this is the, in short, the regulatory actions. Now these red colors show the negative parts. These are the negative part. जब excess of testosterone का production हो जाता है, enough amount में spermatozoa produce हो जाता है, तो फिर ये टेस्टोस्टेरोन का एक फ्रैक्शन नेगेटिव इफेक्ट शो करता है ऑन एंटीरियर पिट्यूटरी एंड हाइपोथैलेमस टू डिक्रीज द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ LH as well as FSH. Here again the testosterone and spermatozoa दोनों का प्रोडक्शन जब ज्यादा हो जाता है, तो ये ब्रेन तक नेगेटिव फीडबैक मैकेनिज्म हार्मोन का, एंडोक्राइन ग्लैंड्स का एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एक्शन होता है, नेगेटिव फीडबैक मैकेनिज्म. वो वो प्रोडक्शंस, वो हार्मोन्स खुद ही जब सफिशिएंट अमाउंट में प्रेजेंट हो जाते हैं, तो वो नेगेटिव फीडबैक मैकेनिज्म ब्रेन तक पहुंचाते हैं और कंसर्न ऑर्गन तक पहुंचाते हैं और कंट्रोल करते हैं प्रोडक्शन को. फिर जब प्रोडक्शन ऑफ स्पर्मेटोजोआ कम होने लगता है, then again the entire process is repeated with the increase of the blood amount. Blood RBCs में increase होता है, hypophyseal system से फिर से GnRH का रिलीज होता है, पिट्यूटरी तक जाता है, पिट्यूटरी से again the process is repeated in a pulsatile manner, and it may happen in every 2 to 3 hours interval. So this is the physiological regulations. Now, as I have told you, these are certain important terms used during this entire physiological or endocrinological or hormonal regulations. First is thalamo-hypophyseal portal system. This is the blood circulatory system through which GnRH acts on gonadotrophs of anterior pituitary. Then these are the G protein receptors in the anterior pituitary that receives the GnRH masses, and it acts via binding and activation of this receptor. Gonadotrophs and calcium ion are activated into the anterior pituitary to release the LH and FSH. So किस तरह से anterior pituitary पे action होता है? Then there is one enzyme that is called as desmalase. It is an enzyme that converts cholesterol into pregnanolase. एक कोलेस्ट्रॉल जो बॉडी में प्रेजेंट होता है, ब्लड स्ट्रीम में प्रेजेंट होता है, उसको एक एंजाइम में कन्वर्ट करता है, दिस desmalase, that is called as the pregnanolase enzyme, which produces two weak androgen intermediates. दो कमजोर एंड्रोजन इंटरमीडिएट, बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग एंड्रोजन इंटरमीडिएट प्रेजेंट होता है टेस्टोस्टेरोन में, और दो कमजोर एंड्रोजन इंटरमीडिएट्स DHEA एंड androstenedione. DHEA is dehydroepiandrosterone, and this androstenedione. These two enzymes, they together complete the conversion of testosterone from cholesterol. Cholesterol से completely convert होकर के testosterone का secretion होता है through this combination of enzymes. Then is hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. This is simply nothing but the hypothalamus से GnRH secrete होता है, पिट्यूटरी तक पहुंचता है, पिट्यूटरी से गोनाड तक पहुंचता है. तो ये पूरा एक एक्सिस जो है, this is the hypothalamogonadal pituitary gonadal axis. This is यहाँ से यहाँ तक की जो axis पहुंचा, this is the this axis. Now so these are the main reproductive mechanism or the regulatory actions happening into the male reproductive system, जिसका सबसे बड़ा center है functioning का testis, that is the gonad. Now one more important thing to note is testis में testosterone एक बहुत important hormone है that is secreted by the interstitial cells. Then it binds with the androgen binding protein and acts on the Sertoli cells, spermatogenesis, and regulates the different activities of the secondary sexual characters. So ये एक general mechanism हो गया. Now additional support is given to the testosterone. Bulk of testosterone is secreted by the leading cells of the testis, interstitial cells of the testis. But apart from that, the additional support is also given by the another very important gland of the body that is called as the adrenal gland. This adrenal gland, this adrenal gland also supports the testosterone production. Adrenal gland, if you remember, it is situated on the top of the kidneys. These are the largest gland, divided into two parts. एक adrenal gland divide होता है cortex में और medulla में. Adrenocorticotropic hormone from anterior, ये भी thalamus के control में होता है, brain से thalamus, GnRH, gonadotropic releasing hormone. This again reaches the anterior pituitary, and now it वहाँ पे टेस्टिस के इसके पहले टेस्टिस को स्टिमुलेट करता है थैलेमस हाइपोफाइजियल पोर्टल सिस्टम, और ये also this is the anterior pituitary. Now it secretes another hormone that is called as ACTH, जो adrenal पर पहुंचता है, adrenocortico-regulating hormone. That is, this reaches the adrenal cortex और adrenal corticotropic hormone वहां पर भी पहुंचकर adrenal cortex के कुछ cells को activate करता है, और additional testosterone is produced in the same manner. This is also cholesterol is converted into testosterone. The method is exactly like that is done during the in the testis, but here this in this series, this axis is now called as hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. That we have seen, हम लोग जो देख रहे थे particular terms here, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This is a complex formed with the adrenal cortex to produce the additional amount of testosterone. The function is again very same. That is but here this testosterone produced from by the adrenal cortex, it mainly functions for the regulation and control of the secondary sexual characters. The majority of testosterone is produced in Leydig cells. Adrenal cortex also contributes some androgen production, again under control of hypothalamus and anterior pituitary, forming hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. Now, this hypothalamus releases CRH. Particular secretion is done here in case of adrenal cortex. This hypothalamus produces CRH. This CRH is the corticotropin releasing hormone. In that, corticotropin releasing hormone is produced from the anterior pituitary to the adrenal cortex, which stimulates the release of ACTH from anterior pituitary. This ACTH stimulates enzyme desmalase, जैसा हमने पहले देखा था, यहाँ हमने देखा था desmalase. Again, this desmalase enzyme is produced, which converts the cholesterol into pregnenolone in adrenals, similar to testosterone, जैसे पहले conversion हुआ था और active हुए थे. Now, the functions are mainly androgen production, such as testosterone, promotes spermatogenesis, transport into female reproductive system for fertilization. The same functions adrenal cortex का testosterone भी वही काम करता है. So this is in short, the details, the physiological hormonal regulation of the hormones, the male reproductive hormones. Now these are the upcoming slides, these are the overall. This is again the overall functioning control. The paracrine effects क्या क्या है, endocrine effects क्या क्या है, these you can see through all these slides. These are hormonal positive controls, these are the hormonal negative controls. Sertoli cells क्या क्या secrete करता है, interstitial cells, Sertoli cells interstitial cells control करते हैं. Sertoli cells को Sertoli cell बनाता है, inhibin ABP testosterone को control करता है, spermatogonic cells को control करता है, and spermatogenesis को control करता है. Now the functions of Sertoli cells we have already seen. Now the details you can take from here. These all terms we have already used. Now the blood testis barrier. This is another important term, blood testis barrier. What is this? We have seen Leydig cells are present into the interstitium and are present into the blood vascular system or the epidermal layer, and here is the Sertoli cells, and these are the spermatogonial cells. Now these spermatogonial cells, these Sertoli cells, they form a sort of tight junction, and into this tight junction a blood testis barrier is formed with the help of the blood vessels that help into the that act as the shock absorber for the developing spermatozoa. Spermatozoa जो develop हो रहे हैं उनको काफी तरह से प्रोटेक्ट करने का काम, शॉक एब्जॉर्बर की तरह, उनकी मिक्सिंग नहीं हो एक दूसरे से, तो ये एक ब्लड टेस्टिस बैरियर बनाते हैं. इट इज अ मेश वर्क formed by tight junctions between bases of Sertoli cells. It has two main functions: prevents harmful substitutions in the blood from reaching seminiferous lumen, and it keeps immunogenic germ cell in seminiferous tubule from entering systemic circulation. They synthesize and secrete HY antigen gonadal cells to differentiate as testis. So all these are the functions. Now the leading cells, interstitial cells, इनका details कहाँ 7th to 9th week of pregnancy में develop होते हैं, इनका functions. These all we have seen now. And in these 2-3 slides, again the overall function of the hormonal function is summarized into these 2-3 all these slides. The language I have just given into these slides in form for making your notes. These terms we have already discussed. Hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis क्या है ये हम लोग देख चुके हैं. So all these things we have discussed. आप अपने note के लिए इन slides को use कर सकती हैं. Now the last two subtopics that were mentioned there: abnormalities of testicular function causing male infertility. Male infertility के कुछ खास रीजंस क्या हैं, जिनमें सबसे पहला सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट जो अलग से मेंशन किया हुआ है, दैट इज क्रिप्टोर्चिडिज्म. दैट इज फेल्योर ऑफ shifting of the testicular gonads or the testicles into the scrotal sac outside the abdominal cavity. बहुत बार किसी रीजन से टेस्टिस का डिसेंड इनकम्प्लीट रह जाता है, वो स्क्रोटल सैक में शिफ्ट नहीं कर पाता है ड्यूरिंग द डेवलपमेंट, इंटरनल डेवलपमेंट, एंड दैट कॉजेज that occurs in neonatal life only, embryonic development के समय ही होता है, and that causes the insufficient sperm production or non-sperm production, causing the male infertility. This is one very important cause of the male infertility, and these are certain other clinical conditions that cause the male infertility. First is the male hypogonadism, that is the depend on whether testicular deficiency develops before or after puberty. These are the reasons. Testicular disease कुछ होते हैं, disorders होते हैं hypothalamus और pituitary transport में. Then third is androgen secreting tumors, कुछ प्रोस्टेट ग्लैंड के ट्यूमर्स या कुछ और इस तरह के ट्यूमर्स डेवलप हो जाते हैं जो लीडिंग सेल्स से ज्यादा. दिस इज अ वेरी रेयर केस दैट cancerous it may be, leads to that it is pseudo puberty in prepubertal boys. It develops the conditions. Now, so these are the factors affecting male fertility. The last but not the least, these are the factors that may cause the male infertility. Apart from the above mentioned 3 specific reasons, these are certain other causes that may cause male infertility: erectile dysfunction or incompetence of the penis, failure or achievement or maintain an erection suitable for sexual intercourse, psychological factors, physical factors, nerve damage, medication that interfere with automatic function, then problem with blood flow to the penis. So these are Vigra. This is the treatment, and this is the name of the medicine that is used in general for such dysfunctions. So students, with this I complete this chapter here. I think it will be very much helpful to you. Do write the comments in the chat box if you want any further clarification, elaboration anywhere. Do like, share and subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to get notification about upcoming videos. Thank you. Thank you very much.